Good morning, students. We continue with yesterday's lecture. How women were deprived of their rights, how they were treated ill by the society was discussed. Now let's see, after the reforms were brought in where sati was abolished and a new act of widow remarriage was brought in, how did the changes affect the society and what was the process which got involved, which involved all these changes. Now, as I said earlier in my lecture also, that the basic thing which can bring in a change in the society is literacy. So firstly, the women would be allowed to get literate, then only that change would be, I would say, permanent, would have a permanent mark on the society. Now, Ishpachan Vidyasagar started many schools all around India for educating the girls. But it was a struggle. It was quite a struggle because of the mentality of the people living in the society. They thought if a girl would go away to study in a school, who would do the domestic work? So they were afraid of leaving the girl, allowing the girl to go to school because they thought they are moving them away from the daily chores of the house, the domestic work of the house. They are actually training them not to work. Moreover, to reach that particular place of the school, the girl had to pass through many public places. And it was this thing of the society, a tradition of the society, a custom of the society, that the girls were not allowed to leave the house. And they thought if they would allow them to go to the school, you visit while visiting public places and all stuff, they would actually allow the women to explore new opportunities or get deviated from what their actual plan was, and they thought it would be a bad impression on them to actually allow them the freedom to roam around freely, so that they could not do anything apart from household work. And they didn't want even them to think that apart from household work also they had a different world. This kind of a mentality was very difficult to beat. And then it didn't, like if I said today reform has taken place and tomorrow you can see the change, it was not like that. It was an evolution process. Every day something or the other. Like if according to me, if you want to ask, ma'am, how to bring about a change in the society, I would say first change your own family. Firstly, bring that change in your own family, because family is the basic unit of society. Smallest unit of society and the basic unit of society is family. So if you bring in a change in the family, the society will as in a whole change. So this is very difficult. So then liberal husbands and fathers used to teach their children, their girl child at home only. They used to teach because they were learned. Not only this, some girls used to learn themselves. They used to educate themselves by hiding this fact from all the others that they were literate. Literacy doesn't come only from schools or education institutions. Literacy can come from any nook and corner. Who wants to study can study from any nook and corner. There's so many ways of studying. So they would get help from the household, from the family. The liberal thinking people in the family would teach them. And not only over here, home tutors also would come and teach. This was in the Muslim community, where Arabic was taught to the ladies so that they can read the Quran. And they used to learn Quran by heart, so the language of Arabic had to be taught them, so home tutors used to come. The Begums of Bhopal had a very, very major role played. They had started primary girls for schools in Aligarh. It was not only Hindus, it was Hindus, Muslims, everybody where the struggle started, where the women thought that let's fight back for our rights. Now there was one Begum Ruqayya who did a remarkable job. She opposed very staunchly the thinking of the scholars of the Muslim community, saying that they did not give any respect to the women in the community. So she fought back in the form of writing articles and by expressing her thoughts on the inferior place given to the women of the Muslim community. Right? And by 1880s, after all doing all this stuff, by 1880s, women have reached the university level. So when you reach a university level, you can be a doctor. They were female doctors then. They were female teachers then. So the degrees there they used to get, they had taken up a professional degree also at that time. And they were people who started writing also. They had become scholars. Women had become scholars. They used to write by opinionating their critical views about the society's thinking process for the women. One lady had written a book in comparison of a man and a woman also, showing what kind of what kind of inequality do we face, like what this particular aspect, how does it affect us, like actually training a woman to gather all the courage and fight back for herself. That was the effect of that particular book. And it was not only oppressive treatment given towards women in Muslim society, in Hindus also it was the same. So Pandita Ramabai was a lady who wrote against the oppressive treatment towards women in Hindu society as well. Then she established a widow home in Pune where widows who were very, very ill-treated by their relatives could leave their homes and come and stay over here and become economically stable. They would earn for themselves, economically independent. They would not depend on any man for their food or for their clothing or for their shelter. They would become economically stable and independent. Now, if so many things were happening, obviously those orthodox people would definitely oppose, because they thought that their customs and traditions were in great danger. If a woman was being empowered, they thought that we are actually planting a wrong seed in the society, which would grow up very massive to fight back against the good values of the customs and traditions. It was not that. It was only that they felt threatened of their own existence. That how can a woman challenge a man? That was the society. That was actually the, I would say, the idea in the backdrop. But they did not have the courage to admit it openly. And so they took the scanners, the help of all these stupid customs and traditions, and then they would make an excuse out of it. So here, after a few years again, women reformers came into action here. Now till now I just quoted men reformers' names. Women reformers also came in. Not only were they reforming the society, not only were they expressing their views in public journals, magazines, newspapers, they were also getting involved in the political movement. They started demanding for women's suffrage. That means right for the women to vote. So they wanted proper healthcare facilities for the women. They wanted proper education for the women. They wanted them to be empowered. So that is, how could they do it? By getting involved in the political structure of the country. So all took part in the freedom struggle also. The women reformers took part in the freedom struggle also, where the nationalist leaders like Jawaharlal Nehru promised that when India would be free, independent, women would get the rights to vote as well, because it would be an independent democratic country where everybody would be equal, so everybody would get the rights to vote. So this was a great reform when compared to the prior 200 years ago state of the poor state of the women of the society at that time. So this change took many years, but it has an impact till date. So actually you and I are blessed, because we took birth in this kind of a society where women are not supposed to do only household chores. Women are multi-talented actually. You can multitask. You can do all the work. Maybe household, maybe financial aspect of the society, maybe giving you advices, maybe looking after the child's education and all. Everything is done by a woman. I would not say men are not supportive, but yes, there are certain people today also who have got that orthodox kind of a thinking, who don't allow women to do what they want in life. But now women don't get suppressed so easily. Keep that in mind. So that's all for this particular lecture. Thank you.